Hey everybody, sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with my computer. All I know is that everything like froze up on me. Well, not everything, but pages wouldn't load, they were unresponsive, and then I couldn't turn my mic back on. I don't know. So I'm back. If my if I sound like if the sound's crackly or whatever, if it doesn't sound very good, I will try putting my headphones in. Just let me know. Probably should have just said, "Hey, come over to D Live," but it kicked me off anyways. After all that, it's like I don't even really want to talk about that picture anymore. But because I feel like I shouldn't have to. And again, I don't feel like it's really relevant. I don't, and again, I don't think it gets us closer to the case. And I think if people actually analyze it or looked at different things instead of just believing it, I don't think we would have to. I wouldn't have to be sitting here having this discussion. Um, and again, it could be her. It's very well possible that she did get a breast reduction. Um, in my opinion, I don't think that's probably the best way to go about it. As far as I know, I don't even know why I'm going into details about this, but why not? But as far as I know, I'm not a doctor, but I believe that breast reductions are even more painful and are even um, uh, not harder, but like it's not as simple as putting them in, let's just say. Well, I guess it's not a breast reduction. I guess it's just taking out the breast implants. But either way, irrelevant. Um, again, I don't agree with it. Nothing against the other channel creators. I just, I just think we have to be very careful, especially when you're just posting somebody's picture online. And again, it may be completely legal, but I just have a lot of issues with it. Let's just say that. Even if it was her or it wasn't her, it doesn't matter. And I do apologize again about the technical difficulties. That seems to be a regular thing on my channel. I just don't have a good enough computer or to handle all of this because I have more than enough internet speed to handle a couple of web pages and loading a picture. And I get it. I get that everybody wants to know where she is. They're like, where is she? It's a big mystery. Is she in hiding? Is she in the Bahamas? Is she in witness protection? Like, I get it. It's very mysterious, and people want to know where the hell she went because she just disappeared off the face of the earth. Um, for me personally, it doesn't bother me where she is because, again, I've seen this happen before with another mistress and another orchestrated event where she just fell off the face of the earth. And if you guys have been following me for a while, you'll have heard me say this before or mention it. Um, exactly the exact same way that the Kessinger did, right? This other, no, it wasn't a mistress. I'm sorry. It was, I said mistress. I meant girlfriend. Girlfriend of the perpetrator. Say that. Um, and I know someone's probably going to ask me which case or event I'm referring to. If somebody in the chat knows which case I'm referring to or event, if you could put it in the chat for me. I don't really care if you put it in code or not. At this point, it's like it doesn't really matter. And I'm not going to make you guys have to talk in code or rearrange your wording in my chat. So it's just, it's ridiculous that we have to do that, that it's come to that point. And again, they're not just doing it to channel creators, they're now doing it to other YouTubers and viewers. And I think that's something that everybody should be worried about. But back to what I was saying, in this other orchestrated event, the girlfriend of the perpetrator, obviously she's the closest person to him. This person didn't have some family, didn't have a lot, but didn't have a lot of friends. He was kind of recluse. And there's just other factors that that play a role in it as to her being investigated, or at least questioned more, and she wasn't. I mean, you know, you're the girlfriend of this person who just committed a very, you know, allegedly committed a very horrendous act, and she's not given a polygraph. She's not investigated. She was asked, I think they interviewed her, and that's about it, just like Kessinger. Again, I'm only going by what the official narrative and what law enforcement told us. So maybe she was investigated, maybe she wasn't. I don't know. Again, I would have no way of knowing for sure. But as far as we were told, she was not investigated or treated like a suspect. So first you have that connection or similarity, and then she also fell off literally the face of the earth. And before I talk about that part, if we're going further, this girlfriend, right, pretty much didn't have any past, right? And we know how difficult it is to find information on Kessinger or pretty much anybody involved in this case. But mainly Kessinger. Like, we have some information about like where she went to, like, got her geology degree or whatever. But again, not to get off track, but it'd be very easy to create a identity of someone, especially if you're the government or you have the power to do that. I mean, it would be simple, right? So they can make somebody disappear very easily, so they could just as easily create an identity. You see what I'm saying? So for me personally, but you know, I'm hard to crack because I just because I see it online or there's information written down, like, yes, is it in writing, but does it make it true? No. Anybody can go into the internet, not anybody, but if you have the ability to or the power to, you can go onto the internet and, again, completely erase someone's identity or create an entire one. So it would be very, very easy to put some information on the internet and create this Nicole Kessinger person. Now, obviously, is she a real person? Yeah, because we see her on the video camera, we see her in pictures. She's a real person. I'm not saying that for anybody who wants to be that person that's going to go in my comment section and saying, oh, are you saying that Nicole Kessinger is not a real person? No, that's not what I'm saying, because they're always going to try and twist my words around. There's always one person. So I shouldn't have to do it, but I have to make myself clear for those people. I'm not saying that she's not a real human being with a heartbeat. She might not have a heart, but as far as like emotions go, but she actually has a heart that keeps her alive. So, or maybe not. Maybe she's like reptilian or something. I don't know. You never know. Anything's possible. But how do we know if that's even like her real name? I mean, and I know it might be hard for some people to like understand that, but I mean, it's really, how difficult would it be if you had the power to go in and control stuff on the internet or information on the internet and create an identity for this woman? And now I'm getting off track, but my point was it's been very difficult to find information on Kessinger. There's only like a limited amount of information, and it feels like it's only enough information to support the narrative. Like, oh, she's a geologist. Okay, she went to this university. She went to this high school, even though I can't find a picture of her at that high school in the yearbook. So it's just like I'm saying, just a certain amount of information enough to convince people that she is a real person or that is her identity, and to support the narrative, if that makes sense. So my point is that it's difficult to find information on her, and just like Kessinger, it was very difficult to find information on this girlfriend of this other event. So, all we found was like they lived here for a certain amount of time, and then they worked as this occupation. She only had like, I don't know if her Facebook was left open or not. I don't remember. It was a long time ago, or a couple of years ago, a few years ago. But all the pictures we really had of her were one of her and the perpetrator. Just say perpetrator. I am cautioned to use the other word. It's ridiculous. But there was only a limited amount of pictures of her, and one of them, like I said, was of her and her boyfriend, the one that committed the act, and a couple pictures with friends, like at a club or something, and that was it. And how many pictures have we seen of Kessinger? Oh, that's right, because she had all her friends go on, social media and delete all her pictures of herself, right? How convenient. She must have some really good friends to just go and delete all her pictures off, right? So my point is that both girlfriends seem to not have like much of a past whatsoever. And I find it rather convenient that Nicole Kessinger didn't have a Facebook or any social media. What 30-year-old doesn't have social media these days? Especially when you work for like a big company, wouldn't you want to, have a LinkedIn or something and put your background in there or whatever? It's just, 2018 and you don't have any social media. I find that very hard to believe. But it's those kind of things in the case, you guys, that are those convenience things, right? So it's like, oh, how convenient that this woman who was dating a married man who just allegedly killed his whole family doesn't have any social media or for anybody to go and find any information about this woman. And how convenient that she asked all her wonderful loyal friends to delete all their pictures of her, right? So she doesn't have social media, but then just all her pictures are with all her friends on their Facebook and social media. It's very convenient. There's a lot of those convenient moments in this case, many, many. So first you have the similarity that they weren't investigated. They weren't given polygraphs. They, were interviewed and that was it. And both people that they were dating allegedly committed very, very horrendous acts. So why weren't these two women closest to these people, these two, individuals that committed these horrendous acts, not looked into further? So you have that connection. And then you have the fact that you couldn't find any history on these two women. A couple of pictures or, a few pictures online, some info on the internet, and that was it. Right? Then both of these women fall off the face of the earth. Now, the only difference with the other girlfriend in the other event, she had her lawyer come out and give a statement for her instead of doing it herself. I mean, I guess you could kind of compare it to Kessinger doing her glamour shots for Denver, glamour shots for Denver News, right? Her little profile shots, headshots, and giving that statement, right, to Denver News. So I guess that could be kind of comparable, but either way, they never came out and gave a public statement themselves, right? And then again, you have that big, huge connection where they both fell off the face of the earth, like never to be seen again. And that was one of those big red flags for me in this case. I was like, wow, that's the same thing that happened with the other girlfriend that should have been investigated and treated like a suspect because her boyfriend just committed a horrendous act, right? Like huge. So both of these girlfriends, there was just lack of investigation for both of them, right? So my point was, after all of that, is to me personally, it doesn't matter where she is, because I know that she disappeared for a reason, because I've seen it before in another event that was orchestrated, right? Do I know the exact reason as to why they just make these girlfriends or certain individuals in these cases just fall off the face of the earth with no explanation? I don't have those kind of answers for this case. All I can do is look at the patterns. And to me, patterns that keep happening consistently are more than enough evidence for me personally. Now I can theorize and say that, well, one, they're probably not going to want her to come out and give public statements and go on to like Dr. Phil or Dr. Oz or do any Dateline like interviews, because Kessinger's whole purpose in this case was to, one, become the most hated woman in the world or the country, if not the world, for a certain, she might still be, I don't know, or one of the most hated, right? We don't want to give her too much of a fat head, right? So her role was to play the unemotional, no regards for deceased victims whatsoever, only cares about herself type of thing, kind of spoiled little brat. It's all about me, and show no compassion or, again, empathy for any of the victims, and pretty much, again, just become the mistress that made this man kill his entire family, right? She played her role perfectly because everybody hates her. Everybody wants to see justice. And that's the thing too, is that once people started noticing these like the red flags or the inconsistencies in the case, and why wasn't she investigated? Why wasn't she looked into? Why wasn't she given a polygraph? Why was she allowed to do it? Why was there no investigating this mistress who was the closest person to this man who allegedly killed his entire family? In real life, she would have been. But when you have a situation where her sole purpose is just one thing, and that was to piss off a lot of people, push the narrative, push that this affair even happened in the first place, right? So there's no reason for her to come out and write a book. There's no reason for her to give interviews, because that's not there's no reason to do that because they already pushed their agenda onto us. Does that make sense? So once her role was done, that's it. As to where a probably, if it were real, right, she probably would want to come out and give some sort of public statement or maybe even a public apology, whether or not it was her fault for what Chris had allegedly done or did. You would think that she'd want to come out and clear her name and say, hey, you know, I get it. I dated a married man. I'm not proud of it. I just want to apologize to both families for any harm I might have caused. Even if I wasn't the 100% the reason for why he did what he did. You see what I'm saying? Like, to me personally, in real life or reality, why would this woman continue to hide and not at least come out and give her side of the story, right? Regardless if it was in a private interview or even another statement, right? If it were me, I would want to give my side of the story. I would deserve to at least have that, right? Anybody does. So me personally, I would say, I mean, it's not going to make things any worse if you come out and at least give your side of the story, right? You see where I'm going with this? But she hasn't done that because she doesn't need to. Do you get what I'm saying? She did her job and that she's gone, right? She disappears. And not only that, but I believe, and this is only theory, speculation, they also do that because it's part of the psychological aspect of it, right? So people are trying to figure out for 2.5 years now, where in the hell Nicole Kessinger is, right? Where is this woman? Where is this woman, this mistress that a lot of people think that she had a role in these murders or somehow or another convince Chris to do it or whatever. Like, people just want to know where this woman is. So, hey, Tech. Hey, Aussie. Angelina and everybody else. And what have we all been doing for the past 2.5 years? Trying to figure out where in the hell, I mean, there's more to it than that, obviously, the rest of the case, but where is this woman, right? How could she just disappear off the face of the earth? Why has she not come forward? Why has she not come forward to give her side of the story and defend herself? Because it's done that way on purpose, you guys. And what are the odds that same thing happened in this other orchestrated event with this other girlfriend who was not investigated? Same exact thing. Hardly any background information on them, no history, hardly any family, just a few photos, never comes out and gives a public statement, has her lawyer do it for her, disappears off the face of the earth, never investigated, doesn't come out and do any news interviews, doesn't even try to make money, right? Because you know that they would, these companies or these TV shows would pay them a ton of money to come on their show and talk about it, right? That's what to me personally, what someone would do in their situation. I don't know. I can't speak for everybody, but there's a reason why she's hidden. It's not because she's in protection or whatever. It's not because she's like, I doubt it's because she's a coward. Like, again, I'm just going by the patterns and what I've seen, and knowing that this case is orchestrated, and knowing that the other case was orchestrated, and there's more cases. I'm just using the comparison solely for these two women. Knowing that the other case was orchestrated and in the same scenario with both of them is going on, to me, that's all the evidence I need. I don't, then that was my whole point. Sorry, that took like a really long time. But I don't, for me personally, again, I don't need to know where she is because I know that she disappeared for a reason, because I know that this case is orchestrated and I know that that's what they do or have done anyways in other events. But the problem is I don't know specifically why. I just know that it's done on purpose. So let me look at the chat really quick. Sorry, I feel like if I go on rants, I can't stop. I'll forget my point, which I already did several times on my own. So I'm kind of behind in the chat because I'm going to scroll up. So, hey, Private Pirate, good to see you. Wait, your message was deleted. Wait, what message? Your comment? To your questions, Mary Rose, yes, from further in the chat. Yes and yes. Oh, you're probably not here anymore, but good night, Octavia. Hey, Jess Bell. That's a good question. You would think that there's probably a few people that have watched their homes, but I honestly, I don't believe that they probably ever lived there, to be honest with you. But that's speculation again. You mentioned DLive. Oh, sorry. You mentioned DLive in your comment, Private, and they deleted it? Uh-oh. YT's like, oh, DLive is our competitors. I don't know. All I know is that YouTube is censoring comment sections now. And again, like I said earlier, that worries me greatly. Hey, Angelina. Hey, Audie. I'm just saying hi to people as I'm scrolling down. Mary Rose says, I don't believe she had zero social media. And that's the thing, though, Mary, is if she did have social media, and let's say she just deleted it, just shortly before all this happened, law enforcement is more than capable of retrieving social media accounts. I mean, nothing is ever truly deleted. I've learned that from researching text messages. They could get warrants if they really needed to. But again, they just said, oh, you don't have any social media? Okay, well, I guess we believe you, Miss Kessinger. It just drives me crazy because it's so just, it's not realistic. How many countless times have you heard in 3 years, friend of Cindy, says Mary Rose. Yeah, great point. And again, we only have like the people that are doing interviews are Shanann's, Thrive friends, or um, I guess, well, we didn't really get that many interviews. What was it? Lauren Arnold did an interview around, of course, around the 2 year anniversary, and the Lindstroms did that interview for that podcast. I don't know, YouTube channel. I don't even know where that talk show is based out of. I went to their website. Doesn't even say on there anywhere where they're based out of. I'm assuming it's either Nevada, Las Vegas, Nevada, or Colorado, because Jeremy Lindstrom was drinking out of a Vegas Strong pint glass. Go figure. And I was just talking about that, and oops. Oh well, now it's out. Oopsie. But yeah, nobody comes forward. Nobody comes forward for their 15 minutes of fame. And there's been people on social media that have done that, but when it comes down to it, they back out because they know that they're full of what. Crystal Kenny, who's that? Is that the girlfriend of um what's his name again? The one that she cleaned up the crime scene. Oh no, that was Kelsey Barrett. Is that the Kelsey Barrett case? I think it was. I questioned that case as well, just so you know. But I haven't had a chance to actually look into it extensively. Okay, I'm almost to the bottom of the chat here. Yeah, Mary Rose. Mary Rose says she let Denver Post take pics and interview. Um, yes, but she didn't actually come out herself and give a public, like on camera, a public statement. And secondly, what mistress gets professional pictures? She was so worried, right, in her last interview with Kobach, saying, I don't want my name to get out in the media. And is this what information is going to be released in the discovery? Am I, this is going to really suck for a while. She was so worried about having her pictures out there and her name, but then yet she turns around and gets professional pictures done to do her statement, or have her statement come out with Denver News. It's pretty odd. Oh yeah, and Shanann's finger bend tech. I know it's to me. I I get half and half. I did a community poll, and I think I haven't checked it in a little bit, but some people say I can do that with my own finger, and some people say no way, that's 100% weird and crazy. So, anyways, I just like to post those kind of things because I like to get other people's opinions, and I question everything. So, oh dang it, I just lost my place. Sorry, I just wanted to try and focus on you guys in the chat a little bit more. Yeah, I'm not seeing any, not seeing anywhere in the chat where it says that messages are getting deleted, so that's weird. Clark Gable. Yeah, apparently you can still say that here, Tech. So not everything is censored over here. So that's good, I guess. And, you know, and not to say, hey, I told you so, because it's still really early in it, but I've been saying for how long now that one of the reasons for this case is to, in my opinion, or for what I've seen and observed, is that they're trying to take away our First Amendment rights, right? Free speech. They've been doing it to channel creators for years now, and it's getting worse and worse, and it's really bad. But not only are they going after the channel creators, or have been going after them, they're now going after you guys, just the viewers. So give it time, and you'll if I'm wrong, I will be the first to come out and say I was wrong. But give it time. Well, you can already see it happening. Obviously, they're not leaving it up to us or to moderators, right? Channel moderators to take care of stuff that they should, as far as deleting. So they're going in and they're deleting comments themselves. And you know, I don't know what you guys wrote in the chat that's getting deleted, but again, if Google moderator did delete my comment earlier and I simply said boobs, that's absolutely ridiculous. Not only is boob not like a bad word, it's like PG-13. Two, it's the name of, I'm almost certain it's a bird. Could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. I know you guys in chat, somebody knows that. I just know it's an animal. So how did YouTube not know I was talking about the animal? Maybe I just really like boobs. I don't know. Anyways, but if they're deleting words like simple words like that, you can only imagine how much worse it's going to get over time. Oh, that's the thing too. Doing Life My Way. Doing Life My Way says she said she didn't have Facebook but deleted it. She also told Chris Watts how to permanently delete his Facebook. Why? Yeah, that's a good question. And not only that, but it's like, how would she so like tech savvy to be able to tell Chris how to delete his Facebook the correct way? Because apparently there's a wrong way and a correct way of doing it, as Kessinger says. So she knows all of that and how to do explain that to Chris, but she doesn't know how to reset her Google password. Like, that's one of the most simplest things you could know how to do. And then, people say, well, Megan, it was just all an act. And she was just being Kessinger and just, oh, I don't know how to do it. No, my opinion, it's one of those convenience things. It's, oh, how convenient she didn't have Facebook. How convenient that she told Chris to delete his Facebook. How convenient that the only person's Facebook in this entire case is Shanann's, and all it did was push Thrive in our faces. And not only that, well, not the only thing, but it also pulled at heartstrings, because all we did was watch tons and tons of videos with Shanann, with her, beautiful smile on her face and lighting up a room, right? And she was such a wonderful, strong, outgoing woman, right? Hardworking. And we saw Bella and Cece in all the videos with her, and how cute they were and beautiful they were, and how Shanann talked nothing but good things about Chris. Like, it's Shanann's Facebook was. Why do you think that? Hold on. Why do you think that Shanann's Facebook was left private? Like, okay, let's just think about this, right? This woman, we were told from the narrative, was just her and her daughters, right? And her unborn son was just murdered, and it not was just, but at the time, murdered in a horrific way, right? By her husband, um, who was supposed to be the one to protect them, right? Um, why was her Facebook account left open and public for everybody to see? This woman who was just lost her allegedly lost her life in a horrific manner. Why would I maybe somebody can help me understand that, because I don't understand why it was left public. I mean, I do, but I'm being like what's the word, not hypothetical, but she was just murdered, right? That we were told. Why would her parents or her family leave all of these videos of her personal life for the entire world to see, right? Like, is that something that you would, and you could say, oh, it was a memorial for her. It was to keep her, memory alive. But I just don't understand why they would want, I mean, looking at it from a different, not my theory, right? Why would they keep her social media? And not only that, but then how do the Ruseks have any right to sit there and say, don't post videos about anymore about my daughter? Because I just had a comment sent to me from one of my subscribers from Sandy on one of those channels that just post Shanann videos every single day. That's all they post, and that's all they post on their channels is all of Shanann's Facebook videos. 2 years later, and they're still posting them. And she leaves a comment and says, "Don't post videos of my daughter anymore." And it's not even a channel that's like questioning the narrative or the official narrative or talking bad about Shanann. All they're doing is simply keeping her memory alive, right? Posting the videos of her and the girls. So why would Sandy have a problem with that? And not only that, but number one, this is a highly publicized case. And unfortunately, that's what happens in these situations. You're when you're a victim or you're a part of it, you're going to have your face all over, right? There's nothing you can do about that, unfortunately. But I don't know who controls someone's Facebook. I know that you can like set it up whenever you can have, like, if you all of a sudden like get in a car accident or something and you pass away or whatever, you can set your Facebook up account so that it'll either just shut down or be deactivated, or you can make it so that a close relative or whoever you want or whoever you choose can take care of it and do what they want with it after you're deceased, right? So whoever Shanann picked or whatever went about saying that if this is, the official narrative is real, let's just go there for just a minute. Why would they leave Shanann's Facebook up? And then I'm assuming that it's probably the Ruseks, right? Because it's her parents. Why would they leave up her social media account, her Facebook, for the whole world to see for over 2.5 years, and then have the gall to go on another channel and say, don't post videos of my daughter anymore? Like, why now? Like, you had no problem with it when everybody else was viewing all her videos and commenting and watching them over and over and over again. And you're going to leave up your daughter's social media account, and then you're going to tell people that they're not allowed to talk about the case or discuss her videos or play her videos, even though they're public, because you made them public, you allowed them to be public, because you didn't shut down your daughter's Facebook account. So how do they have a right to even do that or even get mad about it? Or another example, they streamed the funeral live on Facebook. If you don't want your daughter or your grandchildren to have people talking about them, or have people talking about your deceased family members, why would you, again, as I just mentioned, leave open Shanann's Facebook, and number two, stream the funeral live for the whole world to see, and then go later on after your whole psychological mind fuck that you were doing to everybody. Oh no, after you're done with that, right, to push your agenda, now you have a problem with people talking about your daughter. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm to the point again where I can't, if I'm going to get the truth out, I'm going to have to obviously, and unfortunately, hurt some feelings probably. It's the last thing I want to do. But if I'm worried about people's feelings all the time, or people being sensitive to this case still, which I was worried about for, the first year and a half or more, like I didn't start being more transparent until just a few months ago, pretty much. I mean, a little bit over time I was. And that might have hurt me a little bit, but maybe it didn't. I don't know, because it didn't direct any like negative attention towards my channel. But I have to be real, and I have to call these people out who I believe were involved, unfortunately, victim or not. So like I was saying, why would you stream the funeral for everybody to see, and then later, again, after you have did all your psychological warfare, right, into millions of people, now you don't want people talking about your daughter or your granddaughters? Or we're not allowed to talk about the case unless it's with, goes with the official narrative? Then why the hell did you leave your daughter's Facebook account public? And why in the hell did you stream the funeral of all things live? Why did you go on Dr. Phil? And why did you do ABC? And why did you agree to do a Netflix documentary? Isn't that exploiting the deaths of their family? I mean, by you going on Dr. Phil and talking about the case is only going to make people talk about it more and get the story out there more. So the fact that they're telling any of us or anybody that we're not allowed to talk about the case is ridiculous. And that's one of the things that it just irks me. Because now that they've, over 2 years now, going and just pushing this whole thing on us, right? Now they're slowly going in and redacting the discovery and hoping that nobody is going to notice, or maybe they don't care. But I saw the same thing happen with that case that I just referred to earlier. Nothing in that, 99% of that case report, right? It wasn't called a discovery, it was called something else, was not redacted, okay? Same with the Watts case. And these are those red flags that I started to see in this case. Now the reason why I compare the Watts case to the event prior, that specific one that I mentioned earlier, is because they have almost if not all, the same red flags. Now there's other events out there, not just these two, but these have the most similarities. So I just wanted to make that clear. There's not just two. Like, that's not my patterns that I'm going with. It's not just two. So with that other case, after a year and a half, they started to go in, because you could find the case report online, right? Just like the discovery with the Watts case. They started to slowly, a little bit at a time, start redacting all that information that they didn't redact when they released it to the public at the very beginning. So, oh, we'll just redact this name here, and we'll just, and then maybe people will go, but I thought, like, you know, drive people crazy, like a Mandela effect thing. Like, I could have sworn that the discovery was, none of it was redacted when they first released it for like ever, and now, like, now everything's redacted. Like, what's going on here? So it's almost like they go back in. So once their agenda and the psychological part is done, they will go back just to like save their ass and just start redacting stuff slowly, just like they have been doing in this case, and deleting stuff here and deleting stuff there and retracting stuff. I mean, and redacting stuff there. And so when I asked earlier, why would they leave Shanann's Facebook account open like that for so long for the whole world to see, right? Well, it was done for a reason. It was made public and stayed public for a reason. I mean, well, Shanann's Facebook might have been always public, you know, for everyone to see just because she was in sales, but the fact that they kept it up, and especially I don't know for sure, maybe somebody in the chat can answer me, but I'm pretty sure that Shanann's Facebook was left open the entire since August 13th, and or did they shut it down and then reopen? I don't remember. From what I can remember though, I do think that it was always public this whole time. Besides that one time that I think the parents shut it down and then made it public, and I don't know, but either way, why would you exploit all of that information of Shanann, your deceased daughter, right? For a reason. That's where the whole psychological, and I know, I'm sorry I'm ignoring the chat, but I have to stay focused or I'll lose my train of thought. It's done on purpose so that people will go and dive into Shanann's videos and watch them not once, but several times. Whether or not you're just watching them because you're just like, it pulls you in because of Shanann and Bella and Cece, and you know, or because you're trying to dissect the case because you're into true crime or whatever. It pulled people in, you guys, okay? That's how they pull you in. And they get people to watch these videos, right? And by doing that, it makes people, you know, a lot of people feel like now they feel like they know Shanann and the girls because, you know, it felt like after watching for a lot of people that you did almost know Shanann. Do you see what I'm saying? Because she posted her entire life pretty much. I mean, doctor's visits with the girls, right? Stuff on Facebook about fighting with the in-laws, about, you know, fighting with Cindy, and you know, normal things that a lot of people go through in their own lives, right? So people could relate to Shanann with the, you know, with their trial and tribulations in their own lives. So by posting pretty much her entire life, it made you feel like you knew her, and then that's when it pulls at heartstrings. Okay, it pulls people's heartstrings, it pulls them in and gets them emotionally attached to this case. And there's multiple reasons for that. One could be fear, one could be emotion. They, in these, like the psychological aspect of these, they will try to sway people's opinions, emotions, fear, distraction, many things. And it works, because what have people been doing for 2.5 years? Watching over and over and over again Shanann's videos. It's like a repeat of like a video, like a VHS, just playing over and over and over again. And it just pulls at people's heartstrings more and more. In my opinion, that's why they left Shanann's profile or social media profile public. That's why you don't have Chris's. That's why you don't have Nicole's. That's why you don't, they don't want people going that. They want people focused on Shanann's videos with the two, Bella and Cece, to pull people in emotionally. And not only that, but by leaving her Facebook public, she had a ton of Thrive videos on there, you guys, a ton. I mean, that's the majority of her videos were selling Thrive, right? Huge, huge publicity stunt by Lavelle. Brilliant, in my opinion. Because so many people watched and are still watching her videos. And regardless if it's associated with a quadruple homicide case, people are still curious about Thrive. And there's many people that I've even seen and that have told me that they were curious and just tried Thrive because of this case. And I know that their sales went up after the alleged murders, because I guess I can't really say that. I'm like, it's in writing, but I just got done telling you guys that doesn't prove anything. And that's another thing too, is Lavelle, and I don't want to talk too much about Lavelle, but I just want to make a point. They're not transparent whatsoever. If I was going to go try a product, or was curious about trying a product, and I was interested in Thrive or Lavelle, and I went to Lavelle's website, I would immediately be turned off. I'd be like, there's no information on that website. There's no transparency. Like, we should be able to find, maybe somebody can, I was not able to find a chart of their sales for like 2018 or whatever year you want to. And not only that, but when you go to their website, there's literally nothing, no information hardly about that company. They have their fancy videos. They're like, oh, Thrive, we're thriving, all right, put on this patch and drink and take these pills and drink this shake and you're gonna feel great. They have all that, marketing stuff and all the fancy, like I said, videos, but nowhere on that website was I personally able to find where their factories are, where they grow their supposedly gluten-free products from, who the scientists are that are testing these products, or their nutritionists that are testing these products to make sure that they're gluten-free, or that the products that are safe, or that the products are indeed gluten-free. That's, for me personally, something that I would want to know if I was going to throw some, or drink some shakes, or throw this like patch on my arm, right? Like, where's the transparency with Lavelle? A real company, or a legit company, that is really trying to help people and in their lives, right? You would think that they'd want to be transparent as much as possible and give as much information to their customers. But I couldn't find it. I could not find any information on that website besides their product and some fancy videos and 2 paragraphs about the CEOs, right? Jason Camper and I can't remember the other guy's name. Hardly any information on them, any background on them. So the fact that people, again, and no offense, but would just take these products without having any, like, hardly any information on them on it is crazy to me. But anyways, I didn't want to get off on track about Lavelle. But again, the other reason one reason, like I said, for Shanann's Facebook being public is to pull at heartstrings, the psychological aspect of it. Okay, that's what draws people into this case, and it did. We know that. Many people. And the other reason, like I said, is it was a huge publicity stunt by Lavelle. With as many people that watched, like, I don't know how many followers Shanann had on her Facebook prior to everything happening, but I'm pretty sure that it was nothing compared to how many people watched her videos after everything happened, right? That's why they left open her Facebook account, you guys. Knowing that so many people were going to watch her videos, and all she pretty much did, besides the other videos, like with the girls, or, you know, with Chris playing with the girls, thrive, Lavelle, thrive, buy this, try this. It's benefited my life so much, and I feel so much better, and I can clean the house, and I could take the girls to school and give them a bath and feed them, and I feel great, and I have so much energy. It was literally, it's a never ending, like, sales pitch for Lavelle. And they didn't have to pay a dime for it, as far as I know. So if you wanted to get your company out there and you wanted to boost your sales, and again, this is just a small fraction of what this case is about, because again, there's going to be multiple reasons why they would do something like this. There's not just going to be one. They're not going to go through all this trouble to only potentially gain one thing. There's going to be multiple things to benefit from. So and I don't have exact numbers, but it's, you know, in the millions. You can see how many views that a lot of these Watts videos get, and how many channels. There's so many channels that just post Shanann's videos over and over and over and over again. The same ones over and over again on these few channels, right? And then you just have more and more people watching it, and it's literally like just a never-ending sales pitch for Lavelle. Not only that, and I haven't been there recently, but I was just informed that, and somebody told me this a while ago, but that Shannon's Facebook is still left open for her memorial, right? But when you go there, people have been telling me that it looks like a website selling, you know, promoting Thrive. So if you think about it, you guys, it makes a lot of sense. They're just it's hard to explain for me, but it's because I'm not great at explaining things, but the powers that be that are responsible for doing these events are very intelligent. They have been doing it for years, okay? They know what is going to affect people. They know what's going to piss people off. They know what's going to pull people in. They know what's going to make people emotional. They know what's going to, you know, pretty much anything. And they know that people are going to be infatuated by this case and want to go in and watch all Shanann's videos. So why not sell some Thrive while they're at it, right? Or a whole shit ton. Because allegedly, or what I read, of course, I have no way of vetting it because I can't find any information about the damn company. But from an article that I found, Lavelle's sales skyrocketed after the whole thing. And I was going to keep going on my rant, but I'm going to look at the chat now. So I just feel like if I stop, go, stop, go, it's like we'll be here forever. And I didn't even see the chat moving. Am I still live? I think I am. Okay, let me scroll up here. I won't keep you guys too much longer. Jess Bell, did anyone notice Shanann or SW's? Well, I always say their names because I feel like we should be able to because it's a public case. But did anyone notice SW's old teacher and CW's best friend had the same green screen bookcase behind them in their interviews? Wait, okay, so Shanann's acting teacher, Chris Watt's best friend. What, Jess Bell, if you're still here, which best friend are you referring to? That's interesting. Christy, if you're still here, hello. And the finger is about one of Shanann's videos where she's counting on her fingers and her finger literally bends like all the way back to the, to the back of her hand. And it's just something pretty strange. Again, from the majority of things, there is a logical explanation for them. So I do try to find that out first before going like totally conspiratorial. Like, I don't want you guys to think that I'm just like, everything's not real, nothing's real, we live in a simulation, because that's not the case at all whatsoever. But I do question everything, and as people should, especially these days, because, okay, again, I'm not trying to get off track, but if you guys have, I don't know if you guys have seen those deep fake videos that are going around, right, of like Tom Cruise, and I guess they've been around for a few years, but now they're getting even better, and more real looking, and it's quite scary to say the least, because people already believe the most ridiculous things as it is, let alone putting other people's faces on another person's body and making it look so real. So that's kind of scary if you think about it. But my point is that these days, with all the technology and all the computer software and just everything, like, things can be very, very deceiving, and you don't even need computer technology or any of that stuff to deceive people if you know how to do it. But that's why you need to question everything, and ask questions, look up and see what other people are saying about it, or because if you thought of it or you thought of that question, it's likely that somebody else already asked that question online or have been talking about it. See what other people are saying about it, and just try not to believe, and I'm not saying that you guys do in the chat, but there's so many people out there that they just believe that everything they see, or that they're told, and it boggles my mind that, and it's frightening because nobody asks questions. And trust me, I don't want to, I wish I could, trust people or just believe what someone's telling me. Those were the days, right? But unfortunately, you can't anymore. with what this world's coming to, and you know, there are still good people out there and honest people. There are. I'm not saying that everybody is bad, but in my personal opinion, I feel like you should have to earn someone's trust at this point. It's like, um, instead of just being, you know, just trusting someone, be like, no, how about you earn my trust and show me the proof of what you're saying, or show me evidence of what you're saying, instead of just automatically trusting someone. Do you see what I'm saying? But anything, like almost anything, can be manipulated. The powers that be, who are, you know, orchestrating these events, they can pretty much make almost anything happen or make anything believable, because they have the power to do that. And they have their, you know, their little tricks, and they know that the majority of this information that they give us, they know that we're not going to, you know, the majority of people are not going to be able to vet it for themselves. And they're always a couple steps ahead of us. They, again, like I said earlier, they've been doing these for years. So all the they just keep getting stronger and stronger and more believable and more believable. And that's why I'm doing this, because it's so important. Because if people don't start waking up, it's only going to get worse. Not just for me, not just, it's going to affect you guys as well. And I know a lot of people don't think that. They're like, well, how is this going to affect me? Or the free speech thing or censoring, like that doesn't affect me. I'm not a channel creator, but look what they're doing now. Google or YouTube is going into chats and deleting comments because they can. That's called censorship. That's called taking away free speech. I mean, I understand if there's like threatening comments or, you know, whatever, just bad comments. Then I, you know, for the most part can understand that. But now they're going in there and actually doing it themselves and censoring. And as I said earlier, that worries me. So, because it's only going to get worse. Why do I leave such long pauses before I speak? I don't know. Sorry. Just the way I speak, Gary. I also have to watch what I say, because if I don't, I'll get my channel taken down. If I say something wrong, I try to talk or speak clearly for everybody, because sometimes I have a habit when I'm not on live streams, I talk kind of fast, and I don't even know why I'm justifying myself or explaining myself to you. That's just how I talk, and I'm sorry. If you think you can do a better job, then you can come up here. You're more than welcome to, and you can do this for me, because that would be great. But until then, you're just gonna have to deal with my pauses. So I'm just reading the chat. Sorry about the long pause, Gary. Sorry, I'm not trying to be an ass, but it's just like, I'm already going out of my comfort zone by doing these live streams, because they're important to me and I want to get the truth out there. And then when somebody makes a comment like that, it's just like, seriously? Private, you got suspended from Twitter for not for anything I posted, but because I followed some very edgy people and they suspended me for being an enabler. Yeah, Twitter is really bad. I've never had it. I mean, I did have a Twitter account, like right when they started, but I never got into it for some reason. What's going on, Angelina? I don't know what's going on. Like I said, when I get on my rants, I can't pay attention to the chat. So I either have to just let things happen or let my moderators take care of it. But so I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry if there's some sort of altercation going on. Yeah, that's crazy, Tech. I didn't even know that they actually, I forgot about that. They actually banned people from YouTube for the comments that they made, right? I think I'm almost to the bottom. Sorry, guys. Shanann Watts' fingers bending back is called hypermobility. It's often hereditary. And that's very likely, Elfin. Again, I question it just because Shanann was always talking about, and I mean, I assume that's a medical condition, right? She was always talking about her medical conditions and her ailments. So, and maybe she did mention it, but I don't ever remember her saying anything about being able to do that with her fingers. So again, there's probably a logical explanation for it, but that's why I put those in the community, in my what's it called, community section, so that we can discuss it and try to find that logical explanation for it. And if we can't, then we'll go on to the next step. Wow, my phone is like super hot. It does get hot when you use StreamYard. Okay, I'm almost to the bottom. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the pauses. I apologize. Nicole Morgan, I don't know if you're still here. I don't know if you want me. It didn't post your comment because you have your email in it, and I don't know if you want me to. I mean, obviously you put it there for a reason. So if you're still here, just let me know. And if you do want me to show the comment, I will. And then I can always delete it so that your email is not out there for the whole world. Well, not the whole world, because my channel's not that big. So you're probably fine. There'll just be a few people that might mess with you. But no, I'm kidding. That's a good question, Jess. Jess says, why did Frank Sr. say in the discovery that SW wouldn't answer Sandy's calls, so he had to ring her, and yet Sandy says they were really close. Yeah, I wondered that too, because they're always saying how close of a family they were, and how they talked all the time, and then it's like two totally different scenarios. But again, it's one of those things that don't add up in this case, even if it is kind of a small thing. But why is there, conflicting accounts of the story? Angelina, love, I don't know what's going on about the whole Mia thing, but I mean, again, I'm not going to try and censor anyone, but if maybe we could just take the discussion somewhere else. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I mean, as long as people are being civil, that's fine. Work it out. Work it out. Okay, I'm almost done. Sorry, I just really, really want to try to focus on what you guys are saying. Hey, Mariska, if you're still here, I'm like so behind. Everyone's probably gone. Okay, so I'm at the bottom. Oh, you're fine, Angelina. Okay, so I'm to the bottom now. So obviously I didn't go to DLive, but it's okay. It doesn't really matter as long as hopefully I'm getting somewhere. And again, I do my best. And it's not that that comment bothers me, but it's, or that I feel like I have to justify myself. I just feel like I just want people to know that it's not, they have not made it, again, easy for, and I've mentioned this before, but they have not made it easy for me at all. I'm not, my theory is completely different from any of these other channels. And, or in any of their theories, it's totally different. Yes, it has to do with like a cover up, but it's obviously a lot more to it than that. It goes, it's much, 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 much bigger than that. And again, it's not about, and I know that I shouldn't pay any attention to those comments and stuff like that, but I will take a moment to explain myself for those people. Maybe I should just put like a disclaimer or something on all of them and say, one, I'm not a great speaker, which I don't like saying that all the time because it's annoying for me. It's probably annoying for you, but it's true. I'm not, and I'm, even though I've been doing this for a while now, I'm by all means no speaker like these other channel creators. So not only do I struggle with that, but the fact that YouTube and the censorship has made it very, very difficult for me. So while I struggle speaking as it is, now I'm having to, over the last few months, try to reword everything I'm saying because I'm constantly walking on eggshells with these live streams, having to try to find a way around the algorithms so that I don't get my channel struck and get it taken down and lose, even though my channel's small, what I worked extremely hard for. And trust me, I'm not gonna let comments like that bother me. It wasn't even that bad of a comment, but at least maybe if they're still here, now they know. Trust me, it's not gonna, I'll be sleeping tonight. I'll be fine. And I don't mind constructive criticism whatsoever. All I want, I only want to better myself. But, and not that that comment was like really, really mean or disrespectful, but there's nice constructive criticism is what I like. And I do, and I go back and I listen to my live streams, not only so that I can read or see the chat replay and see what you guys are saying when I'm not able to pay attention, but I go back and I listen to myself, not because I'm full of myself or anything, so that I can, improve as time goes on. So I've noticed when I've, listened to replays that sometimes when I get on my rants, I'll talk really, really fast. And then I just, end up mumbling and people can't really understand me. So even though I might sound robotic sometimes, I'm trying to speak more clearly for you guys and, just improve. So anyway, and not only that, but again, I have to watch what I say. So not only am I trying to slow myself down, but I also have to be careful with what I say. And there's just so much to this case that I think I get on such a rant sometimes, but and even if I'm repetitive, it's the things I talk about, they need to be repeated because I need people to remember this. I need you guys to remember this, what I'm saying, these red flags, these inconsistencies, things that don't add up. Hey, Sandy. I think those are pointing fingers. I don't think that's if does Google or do they have a flip off finger? They should delete their own emoji then because that is rude and disrespectful. Do they really have a whatever it's called, flipping the bird emoji? And since I'm talking about it, that's why I wanted to originally try to snag you guys over to DLive because I don't have to again worry that much or as much about what I say over there. So again, I can be more open and for a little bit there when I first went over to DLive and I started asking you guys to come over there, some people did show up, but over time they just stopped coming. So I just started streaming other stuff over there. I'm like, okay, I'll play videos because you can play music over there as of now. Videos you can play. I can play the other videos where professionals and experts in these events, are talking about them that I can't play here. I'd love to, play all these videos for you guys to show you, not proof, but just show you that there's other people that are talking about these events. Maybe not necessarily in true crime, but in other tragic events and experts for that matter. I'm not an expert. I'm only teaching you guys or showing you guys what I've learned from experts and other people that have been doing this for years. But again, I always have to worry about, especially on live streams, what I show you guys. But on DLive, I can play those kind of videos for you, and the predictive programming videos, and even my AHS clips, and go through all those with you with all the connections, because that is one of the biggest things in this case, is that all the connections in American Horror Story are huge. But I can't play those clips on lives, because especially on live streams, because I will get a copyright strike. I only got a claim on some of my AHS videos because it was a video. That's a lot, they're a lot harsher when you're using copyright on live streams. So and even on, with DLive, there's going to be a smaller group of you there, so I'll be able to focus more on your questions over there. I mean, not that I have a huge group in here now, but it makes it a lot easier over there, because like I'm just, again, always on eggshells when I do these live streams, and I enjoy doing them, even though it's still out of my comfort zone. And they're important to me, and it's important to me, and this case is important to me. So that's why I do them. But again, it's just, I don't think a lot of people realize how difficult it is for me, because I literally cannot talk about my theory. All these other channels, they can say whatever the hell they want with no repercussions, right? Because it's not stated in their guidelines. That's, when people come in here and say, why can't you talk about your theory? You say that you're, confident in what you're saying, and you want to get the truth out there, but then you can't tell us what your theory is. And I'm like, no, I literally cannot tell you what my theory is, because it's stated in the community guidelines. Break those community guidelines, you get a strike. That's just one step closer to me getting my channel taken down. And I know maybe that sounds like a cop-out, but go look at the community guidelines and I'm not like yelling at you guys, I'm just saying for people that question. I mean, and I can understand where they're coming from, but if they'd listened to, or have been following me, or listened to more than one of my live streams, they would know why I can't talk about my theory. But they just immediately, it seems like they come in and just say, why can't you talk about your theory? You're just like, sounds like you're just running, pulling people along or whatever, but I'm really not. I've said it many times in my live streams, and on other channels in the live chat, that I cannot speak about my theory, especially on a live. And again, you can, not you, but like other channel creators, they can say, hey, I think Nicole Kessinger murdered the girls. I think Nicole Kessinger murdered Shanann. I think she was an accomplice to the murders. I think that she helped, or I think that she, maybe she didn't kill them, but then she put them in the oil tanks. You can say all that on YouTube. You can literally accuse somebody of murder, and that's okay. But you're not allowed to question the authenticity of a tragic event that has many, many holes in the narrative and inconsistencies. Why? Why is it okay to accuse somebody of murder, or an accomplice murder, or being on drugs, or being a witch, or poisoning, like you name it? I mean, as far as I know, they've had no repercussions for that from YouTube. And because it's not stated specifically in the YouTube guidelines that you're not allowed to accuse somebody of murder. But it is stated in the guidelines that you're not allowed to question a tragic event. Why? Why is it okay? Why does YouTube think it's okay to accuse people of murder and other, horrendous things? But I'm not allowed to question, or anybody else, the authenticity of a tragic event that doesn't add up. And again, I'm not questioning every single case or ones that add up and don't have holes in the narrative. That would be ridiculous. I'm questioning this case because it doesn't add up. And I'm allowed to do that, just like anybody else is. So until YouTube puts in their community guidelines that you're not allowed to accuse someone of murder, I don't want to hear anybody complain about, you know, the way I speak or that I don't voice my theory, because I freaking can't. I mean, it's really, I don't get why people don't understand that. Like, it's in there, go read it. Those are YouTube's rules, not mine. So it's not a cop out. I'm not misleading anybody, but they do that on purpose because they don't want people questioning the authenticity of these events. Because why? That should be a huge red flag to anybody. If they're trying to silence you about something, why? If anybody's trying to shut you up about something, there's probably a pretty good reason for it. It's not just because they want to be fucking jerks for no reason, or just, oh, let's just throw this rule in there. No, it's because they don't want people questioning the authenticity because they're orchestrated. I mean, that should be, to me personally, that's more than enough like evidence to at least listen to what I have to say before just, you know, these other people that just shut me out. And I'm not trying to get like all like pissed off, but it's just because I'm passionate, and I'm, as you can tell probably by now in my last couple of streams, a little bit frustrated to say the least. So I am normal and I am human, and I do react to things and get upset sometimes, but and I don't want my calmness or anything to be misleading. I don't know. I think sometimes when I stay kind of like, you know, not monotone, but when I don't get passionate or I don't do what I'm doing now, I don't know. I don't want to use emotion either to try to convince people. If that makes sense. Like, I'd rather just put the information out there with just, this is what it is, instead of like going like, this is what it is, and da 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 da. Like, you guys see what I'm saying? Because that's just a way to, I think, to sway people's opinions. And I don't want to sway your opinions at all. I want you to, again, think for yourselves. I know that's so cheesy sometimes, but it's so true. And that's why I changed my channel name to that, because people do not do that anymore. They do not think for themselves. And that's why in my videos, you're not going to see, and I'm not bashing on anybody. What they do is fine, you know, but on my channel, you're not going to see dramatic movie scene openings, right? Or in credits rolling, and or dramatic music, because I'm not here to entertain. I'm here to get the facts out. I'm here to get the truth out. And even if it's just a few people, if I can open just a few eyes to what's really going on in this world, and that we're being deceived, then to me it's worth it. And hopefully, I can only hope that maybe the ones who finally do see what I'm saying, or maybe they'll go and convince other people or show other people. And you know, that's because the more people that know about what's going on, it's going to be hopefully a lot harder for them to get away with these things. But the more people that are asleep, the more they're going to just keep throwing these events at us and these lies and the deception. And sometimes it takes, years for people to be able to see what I'm saying. So I don't or to see what I'm showing you guys, right? Some people might get it right away. Some, it might take a while. Some will never, ever be able to see this case for what it really is. It's just, unfortunately, those people are just too far gone. Or cognitive dissonance, or they want to stay in their bubble. So unfortunately, those ones can't be saved. Just looking at the chat. I know my voice is getting all raspy, so. Which is funny because I talk a lot when I'm not doing live streams and my voice never gets like this, so. Okay, Sandy, yeah, I always go back and watch the chat replay, so I'll look for it. Thank you. Oh, are you talking about Sandy, are you talking about the video about the PSYOP? Oh, crap, I just said the trigger word. The algos are gonna come for me. About the video you mentioned, right, Sandy? If that's what you're talking about. I did see it. All right, how long have I been going for here? My phone's probably gonna die. I'm not paying attention to it. Okay, well, we'll keep this under 2 hours. I hate going over. It's just way too long. Just plugging my phone in. Last time I did a live stream on my phone, it died because I wasn't paying attention. Hey, Amanda S. Yeah, Sandy, what's interesting about that is when I saw what channel it was, I thought that channel was gone. As far as I know, that's the channel that was going around a couple months ago, claiming that they're relatives of Kessinger, right? Saying that she lives in Alaska with them and she's pregnant or something. I thought that channel was gone. And so when I saw that, I was like, well, this doesn't make sense. I don't even know what they're getting at with that whole thing, because they just played a clip and of course they don't explain anything. But I also have that audio clip in my frack and distraction, or where it's now, I retitled it. It's where the murder is a distraction. But in that video, I play the whole entire audio clip of that high up person speaking about the military PSYOPs. And the fact that they are advocating supposedly for Kessinger and then playing that, it doesn't make sense, because that would mean that Kessinger is a part of it. So why are they saying don't victim blame Kessinger? Anyways, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. But thank you for telling me about it, because it is very interesting that they played that. There's only one other video that has played that audio clip. Oh, but back to what I was saying real fast. As far as like the making my videos like look like I'm promoting a show or a movie or some new drama series, like you're never gonna see it, and you never or you never have seen it, and you never will see that on my channel, because I'm not, this isn't for entertainment purposes or to hype up the story dramatically. And again, nothing against any creators who are doing that, but to me, this although it is a TV show essentially, my channel is not to make this case a dramatic TV series. So no dramatic, well, I did have dramatic music on my fact and distraction video, but it was actually quite fitting. But other than that, I haven't had any dramatic music. So again, no movie premiere look. You're not going to find me, and I know that a lot of people want to hear about where Kessinger is, and Lana and Jay and just whatever. It's irrelevant. It's all nonsense. It's nonsense. And at one point, I was able to keep up with who I thought were the plants who were put here on purpose to misdirect and mislead and cause chaos and confuse people. But now there's just so much that I can't keep up. But I do know, so I don't know which ones are, again, like just the ones that are just off their rocker, or the plants. But I do know that either way, they're just making it worse. They're doing more harm to this case. And my channel is not about drama. And I don't care how much views it brings in, you're never going to see me cover any of that bullshit. And it's bullshit. Because many of these channel creators, not all of them, like I've said before, but many of them are going to milk this case for everything it has because it brings in views. And if their channel is monetized and if they have a lot of subs, they're going to get super chats, and and you can see that it does, because you'll see them try to cover something else or a different topic or a different case, and they won't get nearly as many as they do with Watts. So they are going to, and I've been seeing it for 2 years, they are coming up with every single theory possible until they run out of theories. And I don't even know if that's going to happen, because I thought I heard them all, but then the next day there's another one, and I'm just like, well, I guess I haven't heard them all. Is this all of them now? Nope. And unfortunately, there's those channels, they don't care about the truth. But they know that people are infatuated with this case, and it draws people in. And if you bring out a new theory that it's exciting, people are going to go, oh, that's oh my gosh, really? That's crazy. And then nothing ever comes from that theory. Do you ever notice that? It's like there's this new theory that sounds really plausible to a lot of people, but nothing ever comes of it. It's just one theory after another after another. As far as I know, nobody else is making any progress with this case, or they're just doing circles over and over again. And I know that I might sound repetitive, but I'm also limited on what I can talk about. And with my theory, I can't, it's not easy for me to just say this is what it is and then just have people believe me. I'm not, even if I just wanted that, I don't want people to just believe me, just to believe what I say because they like what that I'm entertaining or that I have if let's say I had a lot of followers, so that I must be a reliable channel. No, doesn't mean anything. But you're never going to find me talking about, because I could if I wanted to. Every single time one of these ridiculous theories or craziness happens with the drama, I could talk about it. Of course I could, and I could have people come up on panel and talk about everything and discuss all the theories and bring in all these views. But that's not what my channel's about, because I know it's all bullshit. I mean, I hear all the time, like, so many people ask these questions, right? Like, why does nothing in this case make sense? Why is this the only case where nothing makes sense, or that why is this the only case where we have more unanswered, more questions than answers? You know, there's so many of them, but it's like when I hear people ask those questions, it's like they're answering like they're answering my theory for me, because that's what I'm trying to been saying to you guys, is that nothing adds up in this case for a reason. It was done like that on purpose. Like I mentioned earlier, Shanann's Facebook was kept public and is still public for a reason, because it draws people in. If they didn't release all this information in this case, do you think it would be as big as it was? No. That's why all this stuff was released on purpose. The body cam footage, the interviews, the discovery. What's going to draw people in more? Like a headline or a couple clips from from the news, from mainstream media, saying that this guy killed his wife and two children, or pregnant wife and two children. Yeah, it would be sad, and it would be emotional for a lot of people, but it wouldn't psychologically affect as many people if they didn't release all this information. You see what I'm saying? They didn't redact names for a reason, so that people can go and look up these names and stick their heads in the discovery, and who's Jim, who's what's Nicole Kessinger's history. It even says in the discovery, you guys, next to Nicole Kessinger's name, protect identity. Well, so much for that, right? Thanks, law enforcement. Because I'm assuming in a real situation, you are supposed to, protect the identity of the mistress, right? I mean, I guess you have Scott Peterson, but that went to trial. I mean, it's a different scenario. But anyways, either way, all of this information, this personal, private info about people involved in this case, the coworkers, and I know that I sound like a broken record, but this is one of the most important aspects of the case, or the red flags of this case, is the fact that nobody's personal information was protected. Why? Why was that discovery not redacted? 99% of it, for 2 years, or a year and a half, until they finally started going in and redacting stuff on the online discovery, was not redacted. And no one had a problem with that in this case. None of the coworkers, none of the Thrive friends, Amanda McMahon, the other hookup lady, right? Woman, Tinder. Shanann's friend that wrote the letter to law enforcement who asked for information to not be released to the public or mainstream media, but they still did it anyways. Trent Bolt, you know, you name it. Everybody in this case has had their entire, you know, names and phone numbers they didn't even redact released to millions of people. And nobody, or not hardly anybody, is questioning that. Why? And do you honestly think that nobody had an issue with that? Because if this is real life, every single one of those people would have had to have moved, changed their phone numbers, moved addresses. Because there's some crazy freaking people out there, right? That's why you protect the identities of parties involved in a homicide case. It's not real life, you guys. It's not reality. You can't just release personal information, phone numbers, addresses, names, and names of and faces of minors. It's not real life. And that's another one of those big red flags that should support my theory in itself. Regardless if, let's say, hypothetically, all the people involved said, I don't care, release my personal information, release my address. That's fine, I don't care. There's laws for it, there's reasons for it. It's not up to the people involved. It's their, you know, laws are put there for a reason, and that's to protect privacy, the privacy of people, right? So that crazy people can't come to their house. Or what about going into the neighbors' homes? As I've mentioned many, many times, now millions of people know, you know, that specific neighbor where her husband's down in the basement for 8 hours a day. She just got back from a vacation. She doesn't have a dog. She doesn't have a security camera. And again, her husband's down in the basement for so many times a day. So he's oblivious and can't hear anything in case somebody comes in and breaks in. I mean, it's just not realistic, you guys. It's not. You can't show the inside of someone's home as they talk about how they don't have security cameras and stuff. So now what if the wrong person sees that body cam footage and goes, huh, this woman just pretty much told me her whole entire day or her whole schedule and that she doesn't have a dog or security cameras. Why don't I just go to her house and break in now that she just told me everything? It's not real life. Just because you see it on body cam footage, it doesn't make it real. I just watched, now that I think about it, I just watched and I don't hardly watch TV, but there's this show like called the Rookie, and my mom likes it, so sometimes I'll, you know, when I can, I'll try to watch it with her. But um, so we watched it, and they had body cam footage on the show, right? And in the top right corner, it says Axum with the timestamp, and I'm surprised they used the actual company in a fictional show, but right there, the little triangle that looked just almost identical to the timestamp on the body cam footage, right? On the Watts case, or any other body cam footage for that matter. So you got the little Axum, the little triangle logo, and then the timestamp, right? And you have the chest body camera right on the cop, right? Looked almost identical to the body cam footage in this case, except it was in HD, 4K, whatever kind of TV you have, right? So super crisp and clear because it was obviously a TV show. Now, when you're watching that on a TV show and you see a timestamp of this body cam footage, Does that make it real? No, because it's a TV show. Or how many times do you see body cam footage or police footage in movies? We don't go around saying, "Oh my God, I just saw this movie and it's real life." No, no. So just because you see it on say, but I saw it on the body cam footage, Megan, it doesn't mean anything. It's all for show, you guys. That was my point that I was saying about keeping Shanann's Facebook open and public and releasing the body cam footage and everything else, and pointless body cam footage of Ronnie going to the hotel and picking up Dieter from the house, like just irrelevant body cam footage that has nothing to do with the case. But it puts on a good show. It's dramatic to see Ronnie, Chris's father, having to, be escorted to a hotel by law enforcement because his son just confessed to him that he killed his entire family, right? It's dramatic. It pulls people in. Oh, poor Ronnie, poor, he just found out that his son that he loves so much just confessed to him that he killed his whole family. And now he has to be transported to a hotel by law enforcement. It's dramatic. It pulls people in, like I just said. Or watching Chris be fingerprinted and footprinted, it sounds weird, at Weld County. When have they ever done that in a homicide case? Of course, only in the Watts case. Why? Because it puts on a good show. Oh, let's watch Chris get fingerprinted into Weld County because that proves that he did it. No, it doesn't. I mean, I get where people are coming from because people see that I know that they're seeing it happen, but it doesn't make it real. Just like in the movies, when you see an inmate getting booked into the county jail or into prison, does that mean it's real life and that really happened? Or is it just a movie? You see where I'm going with this? They released all this for a reason, and I don't care what anybody says about, oh, they had to because mainstream media. That's done on purpose. Again, they're always, a few steps ahead of us. So they go, well, how can we psychologically mind fuck millions of people and convince people that this case really happened? Well, why don't we just release all this information on the case so that they can, again, bury their heads in it, try to figure out what the hell happened, why this man allegedly did what he did. Why don't we just throw some Thrive promoting in there as well and a couple of agendas to go with it? Because again, they're not going to just do all of this to potentially gain one thing. And someone will, or someone's are always going to gain a lot from these orchestrated events. So like I said earlier, if you wanted to convince people of this tragic event and to push your agendas, how would you do that? You'd release Shanann's, or make Shanann's Facebook public, the body cam footage, the discovery, yada yada yada. That's why people are so infatuated with this case. That's why when someone tries to walk away, they can't. And obviously it doesn't help when you have all these other channels. Theory. This is what happened. The case is still open. They're still investigating. No, they're not. They're not. And I know that people don't want to hear that. That's probably why I don't, pull in the views like all these other drama channels. But this isn't a soap opera, and that's what it's turned into. A never-ending soap opera where nothing ever comes to any conclusion. Why? So that people stay interested, so that they hope that something keeps happening. And that's a perfect example, in my opinion. For any of you guys that watch soap operas, You know how they are. You always are thinking that something's going to happen with your favorite character. Something's going to come from it in the next episode, and nothing ever does. Why? Because if it did, you wouldn't have a show anymore if there was some sort of conclusion. So these soap operas will, the script is, they'll write these scripts so that people stay hooked on them, hoping that their favorite character is going to come back to life because they just fell off a cliff, right? Or something, but then nothing ever happens. But people still watch soap operas because they're interesting, and it keeps people on their toes, right? That's exactly what they're doing in this case, regardless if they're purposely there to cause confusion or if it's just channel creators that are just trying to milk this case for everything it's got, right? But I'm not here to watch a soap opera or hear about the latest drama. I'm here to expose the truth because we have been lied to on a massive scale. And for those who want to know the truth, then they will listen to me and hear what I have to say at least. And, every time one of these other bigger channels come out with one of their theories in just the ridiculous nonsense, it just makes it even harder for me. And I'm just one person with a little channel. If I had the amount of subs that these other channels did, like I could get my theory out there and the truth out there to so many more people. And these other channel creators have all these subs and they're just misleading them every single day because they just believe it. And it's frustrating, but there's nothing I can do about it. I can only concentrate on myself and keep doing this for the people that do really want to know the truth about this case, even if it doesn't fit their narrative or their ending. So that's why I'm still doing this. And I don't expect people to just, as I said earlier, it sometimes takes years and multiple events. But the person has to want to research these events. And hey, Sea Monkey, they have to want to know the truth. Does that make sense? Like, because I'm not here to convince. I'm only here to present the information so that hopefully you guys will remember it and use it in the future, because these events are not going to stop happening by all means. But when people keep saying every single day, why does nothing add up in this case? Because it's done for a reason. And I don't know how else to explain that, but it's done that way on purpose because it's a psychological aspect of the entire thing. And it draws people in. And they know, the powers that be know what things are going to trigger people, what are going to emotionally affect people. The more tragic the event, the more emotional people get and the less logical they think. They just think with their emotions. And how sad it is that these innocent people lost their lives. People die every single day and are murdered all the time, right? By the ones that they trust most. It's not just this family. But everybody's so focused on this case. What about all the other people that die every single day that don't get, or that are murdered every single day that don't get the recognition or the empathy from all these other people, right, that are invested in this case. Those are the ones that should be advocated for. Those are the ones who should have their, and I'm not saying that Shanann and the girls don't. I'm just saying they're not the only ones. Okay, so let's just say the official narrative is true. Regardless if anybody wants to hear or not, they're not the only victims. There are many other victims out there. So why aren't they getting the attention they deserve? There's reasons why these certain cases go mainstream over other ones. And yeah, sometimes it's maybe because the victim's family members, that maybe they're wealthy, so they have the ability to put a billboard up with a reward or something that draws attention, but that's not the case all the time. There's just so much to this case that I know that I'm all over the place, but there's just so much. There's so much detail and planning, and the extent that they went is insane. Like I still can't even like wrap my head around it. But that's why this case was so successful and is still, because of the planning that went into it. They leave out, they release, yes, 1960 or 1980 pages of discovery, which it is a lot of information, but it's really not. Because, and with that amount of information that they did release, why are there more questions than answers? And I'll tell you, because it's done that way on purpose. They leave holes, and they even put, there's probably accidental errors in there, just because no orchestrated event is going to be, errors and mistakes are going to happen. It's just inevitable, right? You're going to have weather to deal with, Mother Nature, like Shanann's flight, which was probably the reason why people started noticing that Chris didn't have time to do everything that he did at Survey. So that you're going to have shit that happens that's going to affect their narrative and cause and show discrepancies, right? But then there's also the discrepancies in the holes in their narrative. They're on purpose. So one, confuse, one, make it so that people have to try to figure out what the hell happened themselves, which we've been trying to do for 2.5 years, right? People are trying to figure out if Jim did it, if he had anything. Who is Jim? Still don't even know who the fuck Jim is, right? I'm starting to wonder if Jim even really exists. Like, yeah, we've seen pictures of him, but again, until I see him for myself, then, hi Dave, good to see you. Until I see or meet him for myself, I'm not going to believe it. But again, it's one, to confuse. They leave us with the questions on purpose, because us as normal human beings, if we can't get those answers from the main source, then what do? We try to find the answers ourselves, and we will come up with every theory until we do, right? Because they're never going to come out and answer these questions, right? You know that, right? They don't have to. One, because they can legally lie to us. And two, they're not going to do it because, like I said, they want us to keep trying to solve this case. That's why they leave out so many like gaps in the discovery. And people can say, oh, well, they redacted a lot. No, there's no reason why we should have so many unanswered questions with as transparent as this case was supposed to be. We have more answers to these other homicide cases where we didn't get body cam footage, we didn't get the discovery, we didn't get interviews, right? So how in the hell did we get all that with this case and have more unanswered questions than any other cases where we didn't? Because it's done that way on purpose. They know, powers that be, that we're never going to be able to solve this case based on the information that they gave us. We can go over the discovery a million times. And yeah, you'll probably see something that you didn't or catch something that you didn't before. But with the, the fact that we're not part of it, or we're not law enforcement, or we don't have the ability to vet any of this information, and then we only have half the information, and we don't even know if that information that they gave us is factual in that discovery, because so much is missing and there's so many errors. It's done that way on purpose. So that we will bury our heads in the discovery and try to figure out why the hell this man did what he did. Because we're not getting the answers from law enforcement or anywhere else, or Chris for that matter. And even if he did say it, I wouldn't at this point believe anything he said, and I still never have, based on my theory or the official narrative or any other theory. And the fact that people believe anything that Chris says or anything that Cato says or anything that anybody else says with no evidence to back it up whatsoever blows my mind. Obviously, orchestrated or not, Chris is a pathological liar. So why do people believe what he says? Or believe a woman who allegedly went to see him in prison, and she always uses the word, I believe that he meant this. And I believe, why don't you just ask him? What's with all this believe bullshit? You have the ability to talk to the, go straight to the horse's mouth. Come back when you have some, I know, and this is what he said, not some I believe bullshit. Everyone else can believe that shit, but I'm not going to. Sorry. But if and when you do see the truth about this case, it's going to be such a weight lifted off your shoulders. And everything is going to make so much more sense. Everything that doesn't add up is going to you're just going to go, oh my God, that totally makes sense. Like it's so like obvious and in my face. Like I would be very surprised if, well, that doesn't make sense, because I'd be very surprised that if you did see the truth that it wouldn't all make sense to you. Because anyways, forget I said that. What I'm saying is that once, and if you do see the truth in this case, if you're able to put your emotions aside, because you can't have a biased opinion going into this case. And I know that, people want Kessinger to be polygraphed and questioned and interrogated, and because obviously her shit doesn't add up. We all know that. And people want justice for the victims, and everybody has this hatred for Kessinger, but you can't go into that, in my opinion, having something towards someone, because it's going to prevent you from seeing some facts that you might or you might miss some facts or some evidence, because you're so badly want this woman to be charged, and I completely understand that. And she's by all means not innocent with my theory. I don't think that she murdered anyone. I don't think that she helped or anything like that. In my opinion, the only thing that she is guilty of is fooling and lying to millions of people because she was a part of this event. She played her role. And to me, that's just as bad. So, of course, 100%, I want her to go down, but it's never going to happen because she's a part of it, just like, law enforcement in this. Why do you think that the families are not, they're not doing all the right things? They're not getting actual professional advice or help from real lawyers and doing what they need to do to get Chris the whatever he deserves, right? If they really, really think that their son is innocent, or that there's, why is it that only, or that so many people in true crime and other whatever can clearly see that there's very, very, very many holes in this narrative, right? But neither one of the families can see that. They just think that, well, the Watts, I get, okay. They've never came out and said that the, law enforcement, whatever. But you have the Watts who are not doing all the right things. Again, like I said, they're talking to social media creators and getting legal advice from them instead of accepting professional help from real lawyers that probably would do it pro bono. I mean, they have nothing to lose. And then why do you have the Ruseks that are 100 and trillion million % convinced that law enforcement did everything that they needed to do in this case, when clearly nothing adds up in this case? It's those kind of things that you need to think about, because in my opinion, if in reality, I'm going to keep using that word instead of another word, if this was reality, these two families would be asking questions. They would be at Rourke's door saying, what is going on here? Why are there so many inconsistencies? Do you have all the people involved in this case? Do you think there was other, how can you be sure that the mistress wasn't involved if you didn't even bother to retrieve her text messages or do what you needed to do in order to retrieve her text messages to know whether or not this mistress, Nicole Kessinger, was involved? But they're not doing that. The Ruseks aren't doing that. They're saying, the official narrative is 100% and law enforcement did a exceptional job and Chris is where he needs to be. No, normal families in reality would want to know that if there were others, that they are not walking the streets. But they're not doing that. The Watts are frolicking and playing around with social media creators, right? Channel creators, and the Ruseks are causing chaos and drama and division on social media. This is a social media thing. It's a social experiment, right? Because it's not normal behavior from victims and from a victim's family to go and engage and insert themselves into these live streams, right? And become moderators of true crime channel. Like it's just bizarre. But they're playing the victim role. They're saying, poor us, we're receiving death threats, even though there's no evidence whatsoever of that. Poor us, we're the victims. So you have the people that support the advocate channels, and then you have the Ruseks instigating those advocate channels and getting them to just cause chaos and divide people. And then they tell us that we are not allowed to talk about the case, even though they had a huge part in promoting the deaths of Shanann and the girls. If you didn't want people talking about this case, don't go on Dr. Phil. Don't go on Dateline or ABC. Don't go on, don't stream the freaking funeral live on Facebook for, you know, a ton of people to see. Don't exploit the deaths by doing that and then turn around and tell us that we're not allowed to talk about the case unless it goes with the official narrative. Like, look around you guys. It's a circus. It's a three-ring circus. And as long as people keep falling for this nonsense, it's just going to keep going and going and going. And nothing, I promise you, is ever going to come from it. And maybe some people like that. Maybe some people want to wake up and hear the most dramatic breaking news in the case. But I thought this was true crime. I thought this was to get to the reason behind why people do what they do and why they decide to, you know, kill their family or innocent people, not to go, oh, is Nicole Kessinger pregnant? Like, because that has absolutely nothing to do with solving the case. And some people like that. Some people want to be entertained. But again, if it was, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but like I just said, I thought this was true crime, not a drama series. And that's what all this is about. It's just, you know, it's a big show on the world stage, and we all got front row seats. It's like a roller coaster, like Chris says in his interview. It's like a roller coaster I just couldn't get off of. I just kept punching my ticket. That's what we keep doing. Oh, let's go on the roller coaster again and punch here. Unlimited rides. Punch my ticket. Keep your hands, feet, and all objects inside the cart. Whee! And then nothing ever happens, right? You just keep going on the same roller coaster over and over and over. And it's exciting, right? Because it's your favorite roller coaster. But it's the same thing over and over again. And you just end up back in the same spot, get on the roller coaster, and go back on it again. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. And I really do appreciate you allowing me to, you know, come into your chats and voice my opinions, whether they agree with, you know, yours or your guests or not. I really do appreciate that. Because there's very few channels that are willing to let me do that. So thank you. Okay, Aussie, yeah, I'm gonna end this. I said I was gonna cut it off at 2 hours and I didn't. Thank you for coming, Aussie. Aussie times 2. All right, well, I guess this is a good time to end it. Thank you all for being here. I do apologize about the first stream. Technical difficulties, of course. So thank you for being patient. And I'm going to try to do a live on DLive tomorrow because I do want to be able to go into further detail about my theory. So if you guys can make it, and I will attempt to do what I did today and just go live for, you know, a couple minutes and see if I can lasso you guys over there. But And if you can't make it over there, I totally understand. You know, it's annoying to have to sign up for different accounts, and I know that everyone's used to YouTube, and it's, you know, it's a great platform the way it's set up. Can't say it's great for anything else, but so I totally understand. But I am able to get away with more over there. So I'll leave it up to you guys. But thank you all for being here. I don't know if there's any moderators still in here, but any moderators that were here earlier, thank you. I really appreciate it. And thank you for giving me the benefit of the doubt and listening to what I have to say, even if it sounds crazy and off the wall. So thank you. And I'll see you guys later.